A great sitcom really allows you to connect with its characters and form emotional bonds that last. Much like Morty and his lovely sex robot Gwendolyn. Few things in TV leave a lasting impact like when a funny show suddenly decides to get serious. It could be a death, a breakup, or just a really tragic moment. But whatever happens, it cuts extra deep when it's a sitcom that twists the knife it sticks in your back. TV is serious, guys. Pulling the trigger like Maggie on Mr. Burns, a number of series have done this brilliantly. Well, horribly really, over the years, and left us with a number of heartbreaking moments when the shows that are supposed to make us laugh make us cry instead. With that in mind, I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are the 10 most heartbreaking sitcom moments of all time. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to stay notified. Ding, ding, done. 10. The Double Hug. Community. Community had so many near cancellations that there are a few episodes which could have served as the series finale. But the one we ultimately got is pretty much perfect. After imagining a potential 7th season, the group go their separate ways. And that group hug is rather emotional itself, and picks up a little while later with Jeff saying goodbye to Annie and Abed. That's painful enough, but what really makes it is the way that Jeff hugs Abed for a second time, right as the music swells. It's a brilliant emotional beat that not only expertly encapsulates the bond the two characters shared across the show, but beautifully captures the sense of melancholy at its ending as well. Now all we need is that movie. 9. Goodbye Apartment. Friends. For all the things it did well, Friends didn't linger too often on the more emotional moments, but the ones they did hit hard. Phoebe saying goodbye to the triplets, Monica and Chandler discovering they can't have kids, and Ross having to cut up his new sofa included. It's fitting that the most emotional is one involving all 6 of them, because it's as a group they're at their strongest, and nothing is sadder than saying goodbye. After 10 years of them being our closest TV friends and of being the biggest show on television, it somehow managed to go out in a way that was fitting, touching and funny. And seeing them all bid goodbye to the apartment with the final shot on the door is full of bittersweetness. 8. Good luck everyone, Blackadder goes forth. Blackadder is regarded as one of the most purely funny sitcoms to come out of the UK, and it almost never missed out the chance for a joke. The onus was on silliness, not seriousness, but that's what makes the ending of Blackadder Goes Forth so strong. As they stand ready to go over the front, it all looks like it's going to play out in typical Blackadder fashion, with a last swerve to get out of it. They stand around, happy the guns have fallen silent, and we hear Darling say, "We lived through it, the Great War." 1914 to 1917. Oh God. The end plays out in harrowing, poignant fashion, cutting away from the heroes to fittingly rest on a field of poppies. 7. That's too much, man. Bojack Horseman. For an animated sitcom about a talking horse who used to be a TV star, Bojack Horseman packs a ridiculous gut punch to go with its comedy and silliness. After a massive bender, Sarah Lynn, Bojack's on-screen daughter, goes to a planetarium with the giant horseman. The one place she can feel happy and calm, she slips away as Bojack talks about this one spectacular moment. It's made even more tragic by her final words.
I want to be an architect.
This was a long-running thread for the character and the main reason she loved the planetarium. It also comes just when Bojack finally tries to do the right thing for her, representing the culmination of how his efforts to be better end up in his face. That's too much, man. 6. Michael leaves. The Office. Sad not just because it heralded the beginning of The Office's decline, but more so because it was a sad yet fitting goodbye to the man who was the glue holding Dunder Mifflin together. The season 7 finale, Goodbye Michael, had a few tear-jerking moments, like with Jim's Not a Goodbye, but nothing quite gives you a lump in the throat like the scene between Pam and Michael. She arrives at the office just as he's leaving, and upon learning that he is going then rather than the next day, catches up with him at the airport. After one last "that's what she said." The mics are off, but we don't even need to hear what they said. The hugs and the shared history the two have, which was one of the series' strongest and sweetest relationships, says it all for us. 5. Marshall's dad dies. How I Met Your Mother. This episode, which arrived in the show's last good season, that's 6 for those counting, is a real gut punch. Although never a major character, the strong bond between Marshall and his dad was nicely built up across the show's run, and in particular, this episode. When Marshall finally receives some good news about his fertility, the first thing he wants to do is call his father, only for Lily to arrive in a cab and break the news that his father has passed away. Jason Segel does the best work on the show, his voice cracking and body crumpling as he reacts with "My dad's dead" in a scene he improvised. Marshall wasn't ready for this, and neither were we. 4. Do It For Her, The Simpsons. You don't make it to over 600 episodes without a few tears, and The Simpsons, in its prime at least, knew how to tug at the heartstrings. It's 30 years on, and we're all gay for Marman. The most heart-wrenching episode, however, begins with a simple question. Why are there no photos of Maggie in the Simpson house? From there, we get the story of Homer taking his dream job at the bowling alley, only to discover Marge is pregnant for the 3rd time and they can't support the new baby on his wage. He's forced to go crawling back to the power plant and gets his job back on the condition of a sign in his cubicle, which reads, "Don't forget, you're here forever." The very same ones that decorate the What Culture offices. Gradually, Homer alters it with photos of Maggie until it simply reads, "Do It For Her." Homer isn't going to win any Father of the Year prizes, but it's a nice reminder of how much he really cares for his family underneath a worrying amount of strangulation. 3. Where Do You Think You Are? Scrubs. Ben had become a firm fan favourite when Brendan Fraser guest starred as the character for 2 episodes back in 2002, but it took another 2 years following on from his leukemia treatment for the character to appear again. He does so in Season 3's My Screw Up, where Dr. Cox ends up spending 60 hours at the hospital without a break. During this time, Ben follows him around trying to convince him to go to a party. However, when he and Ben arrive and he asks why Ben didn't wear a suit, JD appears and asks Dr. Cox, "Where do you think you are?" Ben then fades away and it transpires we're at Ben's funeral. The reality suddenly hits Dr. Cox, who allows himself to be comforted. It's Scrubs' take on the sixth sense, and the twist and the sadness it brings is the show's most poignant moment. 2. How Come He Don't Want Me? The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Will being abandoned by his father at an early age is key to who the character is and his relationship with Uncle Phil. But there seemed to be a chance for happiness when, after not seeing his son for 14 years, Lou turned up to reconcile with him. He decides that he still can't be a father to Will and attempts to leave him without a goodbye yet again, only for Will to catch him. It's after he's gone, though, that the scene truly turns as Will goes on a hugely emotional rant about not needing his father, only to then break down and ask his uncle, "How come you don't want me, man?" It's an incredibly passionate, poignant moment, with Will Smith doing his finest work on the Fresh Prince in the scene, even improvising the dialogue and turning in a more personal version. I'm not crying, you're crying. 1. Seymour Waits, Futurama. Oh boy, I'm sorry. In the episode Jurassic Park, Fry discovers the fossil of his old dog Seymour is on display at a museum. After successfully protesting to have the fossil back, Professor Farnsworth concludes that he could make a clone of the animal, including his personality and memories. They're about to go through with it until the end, when they discover Seymour is 15 when he died, meaning he lived for 12 years after Fry last saw him. Fry figures that he probably had a new family, lived a full life, and had forgotten about him, and should be left alone. The episode ends with a flashback to Seymour waiting for Fry, and waiting as the years roll on, obeying his owner's last command to stay outside the pizza shop with the song "I Will Wait For You" playing in the background. Eventually, an old Seymour lays down his head and closes his eyes as the episode ends. He's such a good boy! And that's our list. Whilst I get all this dust out my eyes, what do you think is the saddest TV moment ever? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I've been Ash and this has been What Culture. Make sure to subscribe to the What Culture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching!